Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2020 Breckinridge County High School Senior Night Awards Ceremony. As with most things for the ending of the 2019-2020 school year, this too will have a little different look than normal. When COVID-19 impacted all events and activities that schools traditionally had, schools across the country scrambled to find creative ways to continue with those events. And this event, the Senior Night Awards, is one that is very special to our school and our students. This is a night that we get to brag. We get to brag about our amazing students here at Breckinridge County High School. We get to brag about the amazing parents that have molded these fine young men and women into what they are today. We get to brag about this amazing community. From the Eastern Time Zone near Irvington to Tar Springs, from Hudson to Yellow Bank, this community is second to none. Year after year, this community steps up and provides opportunities for our students. Thank you, Breckinridge County. Thank you, parents, and thank you, the class of 2020. So, here we are tonight in this beautiful yet empty auditorium for the 2020 Senior Night Awards. I want to keep this as normal as possible, so I want to recognize our distinguished virtual guest. Breckinridge County School Superintendent, Dr. Nick Carter. Breckinridge County Schools Assistant Superintendent, Miss Jamie Knuckle. Breckinridge County High School Assistant Principal, Mr. Jonathan Bennett. Breckinridge County High School Assistant Principal, Mr. Stace McElfresh. Breckinridge County High School Curriculum Specialist, Miss Jamie Anthony. Breckinridge County High School Guidance Counselor, Miss Sarah Butler. Breckinridge County High School Guidance Counselor, Miss Chandra Dow. Breckinridge County High School faculty and staff, scholarship and award committees, parents, families, and friends. Mr. Rob Garrett for producing this event and streaming it live on Breck Live, and most importantly, the Breckinridge County High School class of 2020. Thank you for joining us tonight for this wonderful occasion. After 4 years of dedicated studying, months of filling out scholarship applications, weeks of interviews and meetings, and days of nervous energy, the time is finally here to present these outstanding members of the class of 2020 their scholarships and awards. With the help of Ms. Butler, Ms. Dow, Ms. Anthony, and Mr. Garrett, it is my honor to officially start the 2020 Senior Night Awards.
Good evening. I'm Mrs. Butler, one of the guidance counselors here at Breckinridge County High School. And before we begin, I would like to make a quick announcement. We would like to note that there are a few scholarship committees who have not yet named their recipient as of this time. Also, we have made numerous attempts to contact seniors and post-secondary institutions to confirm scholarship awards and amounts. If any of our information tonight is incorrect or missing, we are more than happy to share corrected information at a later time with students, parents, and community members. At this time, we will begin presenting our local scholarships. First, we have our Alpha Zeta Scholarship. This year's recipient is Miss Janae Leslie. Our next scholarship is our Alpha Zeta Family Scholarship. This year's recipient, Mr. Brock Lucas. Our next scholarship is our Amanda Rowe Memorial Scholarship. This year's recipient, Miss Anna Adkins. Our next scholarship is our BCEA Scholarship. This year's recipient, Miss Hallie Barr. Additional BCEA scholarships, the next one goes to Mr. Braxton Carmen. Johnson Elementary PTO Scholarship. This year's recipient, Miss Brianna Whitworth. Our next scholarship is our Bill Basham Jr. Memorial Scholarship. This year's recipient, Ms. Janae Leslie. Our next scholarship is our Bluegrass Cellular Scholarship. This year's recipient, Ms. Janae Leslie. Our 4-H Council has decided to offer 3 scholarships this year. Our first recipient, Ms. Hunter Freimeyer. Our next recipient, Ms. Abigail Morton. And our last recipient for the 4-H scholarship, Ms. Olivia Dow. Our next scholarship is our Breckinridge County Antique Tractor and Engine Club Scholarship. This year's recipient, Ms. Brianna Whitworth. Our next scholarships are from our Breckinridge County Cattlemen's Association. They are providing 2 scholarships this year. Our first scholarship goes to Ms. Madison Thompson. The next Cattlemen's Association scholarship goes to Ms. Brianna Whitworth. Our next scholarship is from our Breckinridge County Chamber of Commerce. This year's recipient, Mr. Christopher Harbison. Our next scholarship is from our Breckinridge County Community Action. That recipient has not yet been named at this time, but we are happy to share that once that student is named. Our next scholarship is from Breckinridge County Conservation District. This year's recipient, Ms. Janae Leslie. Our next scholarship, Breckinridge County Education Support Professional Scholarship. This year's recipient, Mr. Noah Dow. Our next 2 scholarships are provided by the Breckinridge County FFA. Our first recipient, Ms. Ashley Hinton. Our next recipient for the Breckinridge County FFA Scholarship, Ms. Olivia Biggs. The next several scholarships are from the Breckinridge County Farm Bureau. Our first recipient of a Farm Bureau scholarship from Breckinridge County is Ms. Ashley Hinton. Our next recipient of a Breckinridge County Farm Bureau scholarship is Ms. Brianna Whitworth. The next recipient of a Breckinridge County Farm Bureau scholarship, Mr. Trenton Brown. The next recipient of a Breckinridge County Farm Bureau scholarship, Mr. Hunter Dockery. Our next recipient for Breckinridge County Farm Bureau scholarship, Ms. Janae Leslie. Our next recipient for Breckinridge County Farm Bureau scholarship, Ms. Abigail Morton. Our next recipient for Breckinridge County Farm Bureau scholarship, Mr. John Rowland Smith. And our next recipient for a Farm Bureau scholarship, Ms. Natalie Tabor. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Chandra Dow to continue with the award ceremony.
The final recipient of a Breckinridge County Farm Bureau scholarship tonight is Mr. John Thornton. The next scholarship is provided by the Breckinridge County Homemakers. The recipient of the Breckinridge County Homemakers Scholarship is Braxton Harmon. The next scholarship is the Breckinridge County Masonic Lodge number 67. That scholarship recipient is Mr. Trenton Brown. The Breckinridge County Men's Christian Fellowship is providing 2 scholarships this year. The first recipient of the Breckinridge County Men's Christian Fellowships scholarship is Braxton Carmen. And the second recipient of the Breckinridge County Men's Christian Fellowship Scholarship is Miss Madison Thompson. The Breckinridge County Health Foundation Louise Hook Scholarship recipient this year is Miss Elise McCoy. The Cecilia Bank Scholarship has not named its recipient yet, but as soon as we get that will be announced. The Sierra Clark Memorial Scholarship Award is presented to Mr. Chad Johnson this year. The Custer Elementary PTO Scholarship recipient this year is Miss Olivia Dow. Our next scholarship, the Delano Harmon Memorial Scholarship, this year's recipient is Miss Ashley Hinton. Our next scholarship is the FCCLA Scholarship, and this year's recipient is Miss Isabella Sprouse. Our next scholarship, the First State Bank Scholarship, this year's recipient is Ms. Janae Leslie. The Franklin and Helen Atkinson Memorial Scholarship is awarding 2 this year. The first recipient of the Franklin and Helen Atkinson Memorial Scholarship is Ms. Ashley Hinton. And the second recipient of the Franklin and Helen Atkinson Memorial Scholarship is Ms. Brianna Whitworth. Our next scholarship, the Gilly Hust Memorial Scholarship, has not chosen a recipient this year as of yet, so we will announce that when we get it. And the George Dean Memorial Scholarship, they present several of those each year. We have not received those yet, so those will also be announced when we get them. There is one, however, the George Dean Memorial Scholarship Hillbilly Run. That one is presented this year to Ms. Natalie Taylor. The next scholarship, the Hardensburg Elementary PTO, will present 2 scholarships this year. The first Hardensburg Elementary PTO scholarship goes to Ms. Hallie Ball. And the second Hardensburg Elementary PTO scholarship is presented to Mr. Trenton Brown. The Hardensburg Rotary Club will present 2 scholarships this year also. The first recipient of the Hardensburg Rotary Club Scholarship is Mr. Braxton Harmon. And the second recipient of the Hardensburg Rotary Club Scholarship is Ms. Madison Thompson. Our next scholarship, the Harmon United Methodist Church Scholarship, this year's recipient is Mr. Noah Day. Our next scholarship, the Irvington Elementary PTO Scholarship, this year's recipient is Ms. Hunter Fryman. The Jennifer Bayman Memorial Scholarship has 2 recipients. The first for basketball is Ms. Natalie Taylor. And the second recipient of the Jennifer Bayman Memorial Scholarship for softball is Ms. Chloe Denton. Our next scholarship, the Jeremy Purcell Memorial Scholarship, this year's recipient is Ms. Kendall Miller. The Kayla Whitworth Memorial Scholarship also presents 2 scholarship awards this year. The first for basketball is given to Ms. Natalie Taylor. And the second Kayla Whitworth Memorial Scholarship for softball is presented to Ms. Keely Bankman. The Kathy Taylor Love of Music Scholarship, this year's recipient is Ms. Rebecca Shannon. The Knights of Columbus present 2 scholarships this year also. The first Knights of Columbus Scholarship goes to Ms. Abigail Morgan. And And the second Knights of Columbus Scholarship goes to Ms. Lauren Whitfield. Craft Corps is also presenting 4 scholarships this year. The first recipient of a Craft Corps scholarship is Ms. Mariah Goff. And I'm going to hand it back over to Ms. Butler right now.
Our next Craft Corps Scholarship recipient this year is Ms. Sarah Hagman. The next recipient of a Craft Corps Scholarship this year is Mr. Duncan Lentz. And our final recipient of a Craft Corps Scholarship is Ms. Madison Thompson. Our next 2 scholarships are from the Narvin and Laverne Whitworth Scholarship Committee. Our first recipient, Mr. Preston Cottrell. Our next recipient of the Narvin and Laverne Whitworth Scholarship, Ms. Janae Leslie. Our next scholarship is the O.J. Allen Scholarship. This year's recipient, Ms. Anna Adkins. Our next scholarship is the Ricky C. Gord Memorial Scholarship. This year's recipient is Ms. Ashley Hinton. Our next 2 scholarships are provided by the Roebuck Veterinary Scholarship Committee. The first recipient is Ms. Olivia Biggs. The next recipient of the Roebuck Veterinary Scholarship is Ms. Mariah Goff. Our next scholarship is the Sarah Hall Memorial Scholarship. This year's recipient, Dax McBessick. Our next scholarship is our Shelter Insurance Foundation Scholarship. This year's recipient, Mr. Braxton Carmen. Our next scholarship is from the St. Ronald Altar Society. This year's recipient, Ms. Lauren Whitfield. Our next scholarship is the St. Ronald PTO Scholarship. This year's recipient, Ms. Abigail Morton. Our next scholarship is the Tom Macy Memorial Scholarship. This year's recipient, Ms. Madison Thompson. Our next 2 scholarships are the Wilson Walls Scholarships. Our first recipient, Mr. Noah Dow. Our second recipient of the Wilson Walls Scholarship, Ms. Janae Leslie. At this time, we are going to work into the other scholarships and awards. Our first 2 scholarship awards in this category are the Believe in You Principles Award. These awards and scholarships also, the scholarships are provided by Herb Jones, which is the company that we work with to provide graduation announcements, caps and gowns, that sort of thing. They provide these 2 scholarships to students who are hand-selected by our principal, Mr. Cox. This year, he has selected for our first recipient, Mr. Preston Cottrell. Our next recipient of the Believe in You Principles Award, Ms. Janae Leslie. Our next scholarship is the FFA John Deere Scholarship. This year's recipient, Ms. Olivia Biggs. Our next scholarship is the Kentucky State Farm Bureau Scholarship. This year's recipient, Mr. Trenton Brown. Our next scholarship is the Richard Bedwell Memorial Scholarship. That goes to Ms. Janae Leslie. Our next scholarship is the Safari Club International Sam Monarch Memorial Scholarship. This year's recipient, Ms. Peyton Whitworth. And our last other scholarship in this category is the Stella Guild KPOS Scholarship. This year's recipient, Miss Janae Leslie. Now we are going to move into our part of the program where we want to recognize our students from the class of 2020 who will be entering the military. Up first, entering the Marines, we have Mr. Noah Drain. Our next graduate entering the Marines, Mr. Ethan Graham. Our next student, also entering the Marines, Mr. Brian Hobbs. And our fourth and final future Marine, Mr. Stephen Tall. We also have one graduate this year who is going to be in the National Guard, and that is Mr. Michael McVeigh. I really like this part of the program because I think it's awesome to see these kids giving back, not only to their community, but their state and their world. So for those 5 of you who are entering the military, we are so proud of you, and we thank you for your service. Our next portion of the program is our college scholarships, and we're going to go through these alphabetically by college and then alphabetically by student within that college. To start off with, we have something in the state of Kentucky that's called the Early Graduation Program. That is where students can graduate high school in 3 years or less, and there is a scholarship associated with that if they meet all the criteria. We have one student doing that this year, Miss Mackenzie Jones. And I'm going to turn it over to Miss Dow to continue.
Attending Breckinridge University next fall, Keely Bannon. Keely will be receiving the Angela Marisi Scholarship and an athletic grant. Also attending Breckinridge University in the fall, Miss Abigail Morton. She will be receiving a trustee scholarship. Also attending Breckinridge University in the fall will be Miss Autumn Rogers. Autumn will be receiving an Ursuline Scholarship and an athletic grant. Attending Campbellsville University in the fall, Miss Anna Crowley. Anna will be receiving an academic scholarship. Also attending Campbellsville University in the fall, Mr. Noah Knight. And Noah will be receiving an academic scholarship. Attending Kentucky Wesleyan College next fall, Miss Charity Borders. Charity will be receiving a Wesleyan scholarship. Also attending Kentucky Wesleyan College, Kavion Mitchell. Kavion will be receiving an academic scholarship, an athletic scholarship, and an other scholarship. Attending Lindsey Wilson College next fall will be Miss Abigail Shannon. Abigail will be receiving a merit grant, a Christian service grant, and a United Methodist scholarship. Also attending Lindsey Wilson College, Rebecca Shannon. Rebecca will be receiving a John B. Horton Scholarship, a Christian service grant, a United Methodist scholarship, and an Instrumental 3 scholarship. We have several graduates who will be attending Murray State next fall. The first, Tessa Allen. Tessa will be receiving a Rhodes Scholarship and a Benson D. and Nova Lee Roberts Blackie Endowed Scholarship. Also attending Murray State University, Ben Dow. Ben is a Rhodes Scholar. He'll be receiving a Rhodes Scholar Scholarship, a University Scholarship, and an Anonymous General Scholarship. Also attending Murray State University, Olivia Dow. Olivia is receiving a Rhodes Scholarship and an Anonymous General Scholarship. Also attending Murray State University, Miss Mariah Goff. Mariah is receiving a Racer Academy Scholarship, an Academic Achievement Scholarship, a Rhodes Scholar Scholarship, and an Anonymous General Scholarship. Also attending Murray State University, Miss Alyssa McCubbins. Alyssa is receiving a Taste of the Arts Scholarship, a University Scholarship, and a Ruth Ann Crafton Memorial Scholarship. Attending Murray State University, Mr. Dax Medvesic. He is receiving a Rhodes Scholar Scholarship and the Doris S. Dudley Scholarship Endowment. Also attending Murray State, Miss Ariel Phillips. Ariel will be receiving a Racer Academy Scholarship. Another Murray State University attendee, Miss Madison Thompson. Madison will be receiving a Regents Academic Achievement Scholarship, a Racer Academy Scholarship, a Rhodes Scholar Scholarship, and an Anonymous General Scholarship. And our final Murray State University attendee is Miss Lauren Whitfield. She will be receiving a Trustee Scholarship, a Trustee Scholarship Stipend, and an Anonymous General Scholarship. Thomas More College, we have Miss Natalie Tabor, who will be going there. She is receiving an Athletic Scholarship, a Dean's Academic Scholarship, and a Saints Award. We had 2 graduates who will be going to the University of Evansville. The first, Mr. Noah Dow. Noah Dow will be receiving an Academic Scholarship, a Scholar Award, and a Methodist Scholarship. And also attending the University of Evansville, Mr. John Rowland Smith. John will be receiving an Academic Scholarship, a Scholar Award, and an Engagement Scholarship. We have 4 graduates who have chosen to go to the University of Kentucky. The first, Miss Hallie Barr. Hallie Barr will be receiving a Penn Oak Scholarship and a Presidential Scholarship. Also attending the University of Kentucky, Mr. Kurt Basham. And Kurt will be receiving a Provost Scholarship. Our next University of Kentucky is Mr. Hunter Dockery. Hunter will be receiving a Kentucky Education Savings Plan Trust, a Presidential Scholarship, and the Kraft Scholars Fund. Also attending the University of Kentucky, our final graduate, Miss Ashley Hinton. Ashley will be receiving a Provost Scholarship and a Charles and Jeanette Benn Scholarship. We have 3 graduates who will be going to the University of Louisville. The first, Mr. Gabriel Martin, and Gabriel is receiving a Trustee Scholarship. The second to attend the University of Louisville is Mr. Jalen Powell, and he will be receiving a Trustee Scholarship. And our third graduate attending the University of Louisville is Miss Lena Zing, and she will be receiving a Trustee Scholarship. Attending the University of Southern Indiana next fall will be Mr. Preston Cottrell. Preston Cottrell is receiving a David L. Rice Merit Scholarship and an out-of-state Top Scholar Award. Attending the University of Tennessee in Knoxville next fall is Brock Lucas, and Brock is going on a baseball scholarship. Attending Wagner College next fall is Mr. Cade Casey, and Cade is receiving an Athletic Academic Scholarship. And then we have several who will be attending Western Kentucky University. The first of those, Miss Olivia Biggs. Olivia is receiving the Cornelius A. Martin Scholarship and an Academic Merit Scholarship. I will hand this back over to Ms. Butler.
Also attending Western Kentucky University in the fall, Ms. Chloe Dinner. Chloe will be receiving an Academic Merit Scholarship. Another 2020 graduate attending Western Kentucky University in the fall is Mr. Cole Dinner. Cole will be receiving an Academic Merit Scholarship. Also attending Western Kentucky University in the fall is Mr. Gavin Dow. Gavin will be receiving an academic merit scholarship. Also attending WKU in the fall, Mr. Darius Gray. Darius will be receiving a Paul E. Power Scholarship and a Cornelius A. Martin Scholarship. Also attending Western Kentucky University in the fall, Miss Janae Leslie. Janae received the Cherry Presidential Scholarship from WKU, and she also will be receiving scholarship award money for the Governor's Scholars Program. Our next graduate attending WKU in the fall, Miss Elise McCoy. Elise is receiving an academic merit scholarship. Also attending Western Kentucky University in the fall, Mr. A.J. McGillivray. A.J. will be receiving a Cornelius A. Martin Scholarship and an academic merit scholarship. Also attending Western Kentucky University in the fall, Mr. Jacob Schiltz. Jacob will be receiving an academic merit scholarship. Also attending Western Kentucky University in the fall, Mr. John Douglas Thornhill. John Douglas will be receiving the Gatton Presidential Finalist Scholarship, the Targeted Gatton Graduate Scholarship, and an annual research grant. And our final student attending Western Kentucky University in the fall on scholarship is Miss Peyton Whitworth. Peyton will be receiving an academic merit scholarship. Now we are going to move in the program to our departmental and other awards. Up first, for our agriculture department, this year's recipient, Miss Ashley Hinton. Up next is our broadcasting award. This year's recipient, Mr. John Roland Smith. Next, we have our English Department Award. This year's recipient, Ms. Hallie Barr. Next is our FCCLA Award. This year's recipient, Ms. Isabella Sprouse. Up next is our Mathematics Department Award. They are giving 2 awards this year. The first to Ms. Janae Leslie. Our next Mathematics Department Award goes to Ms. Lauren Whitfield. Our Psychology Award, this year's recipient is Mr. Darius Gray. Our Science Department Award this year goes to Mr. Noah Dow. Our Social Studies Department Award this year goes to Ms. Lauren Whitfield. This year's Sociology Award goes to Mr. Darius Gray. Our Spanish department is giving 2 awards this year. The first goes to Ms. Hallie Barr. The second Spanish department award goes to Ms. Lauren Whitfield. Our next 5 awards are our Business and Technology Awards for the School-Based Enterprise. These are given by Ms. Lavelle. She teaches e-commerce courses and business and technology courses. This year's first recipient, Mr. Austin Carmen. The next recipient of the Business and Technology Award, Mr. Preston Cottrell. Our third recipient of our Business and Technology Award, Ms. Chloe Denner. Our next recipient of our Business and Technology Award, Ms. Morgan Lucas. And our final recipient for our Business and Technology Award goes to Ms. Natalie Tabor. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Dow to continue.
The next set of students who will be recognized are being recognized as high school heroes. That is that they have donated blood 4 or more times while they were in high school. So we are very proud of these students. The first high school hero is Mr. Kurt Basham. Our next high school hero, Mr. Braxton Harmon. Another high school hero, Dylan Deaver. Our next high school hero, Miss Hunter Frymeyer. Another high school hero, Miss Mariah Goff. Next high school hero is Miss Callie Hinton. Another high school hero, Miss Megan Howell. Another high school hero, Mr. Trey Irwin. Another high school hero, Mr. J.J. Johnson. And another high school hero, Mr. Brock Lucas. Also recognized as high school hero, Mr. Michael McVeigh. Another high school hero, Mr. David Mormon. Another high school hero, Mr. Hunter Myatt. Another high school hero, Miss Brianna Carr. Also recognized as a high school hero, Miss Maddie Pike. Another high school hero, Miss Autumn Rogers. Another high school hero, Mr. Brian Taylor. And our final high school hero, Miss Delina Zinn. I'll hand it over to Miss Butler for the final part of our presentation for ceremony.
The next part of our program looks at the Keys money that our students have earned for the class of 2020. So we're going to go through each year what the class of 2020 here at Breckinridge County High School has earned to go toward their college education. In the 2016-17 school year, which was 9th grade, this class earned $45,369. In the 2017-18 school year, 10th grade, this class earned $40,058. Last year, in 11th grade, during the 2018-19 school year, this class earned $42,402. They also have qualified for additional supplemental award amounts. This could be from scoring high on the ACT. That amount is $30,921. And then to project the earnings for this school year, we simply duplicated their 11th grade amount. That's the best way that we can project that. So that would be another $42,402. The grand total Keys money earned by this class is $201,152. So that's pretty awesome, class of 2020. We're proud of you for that. Now we're going to move into the scholarship totals overall. Our total money earned. The local scholarship total, and that money is from our local businesses, local families, local community members. So definitely, whenever you can patronize these businesses, please do. They are definitely giving back to their community. So we are so fortunate to live in a community like we do, and we are so thankful for them. The local scholarship total is $69,745 for this school year. Our other scholarships totaled $6,000. Our college scholarships totaled $1,715,500. And our Keys money total again is $201,152. So the grand total earned by this class, the class of 2020, is $1,992,397. So So if you're at home watching this, you should be standing up and cheering for the class of 2020. Congratulations, guys. You're awesome. We are very proud of you. At this time, I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Cox for some closing remarks.
Thank you, Ms. Butler. Ms. Dale? Wow. Now that's impressive. Not totally surprising. This is an amazing group. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for watching tonight and making this evening special. Our guidance office worked extremely hard coordinating this event and the whole scholarship process. We're grateful for your efforts. Our community, where do I start? Our community continues to amaze me. Just like the old adage, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, our village raises a school. It is moments like this that make me so proud to be from Breckinridge County. It is also moments like this that make me proud to be a Fighting Tiger. Parents, thank you for blessing us with these extraordinary young men and women. It has been a pleasure to work with them. And finally, these special members of the class of 2020, thank you for making our jobs enjoyable. It has been a pleasure to walk into our building each day knowing we had the privilege to be in your presence and work with you. Let's not serve as a jumpstart for your futures. You are recognized tonight because you are one of the best. You have received praise. You have received financial assistance. You have been told that you are the best. We mean it, and we cannot wait to see what the future holds for you. Continue pursuing perfection, remain committed to excellence, and stay driven to be a champion. Thank you.